Welcome back to my channel. This is Workplace Sports Talk, where we talk sports as if we're at work. If you like my content, please subscribe. I'm your guy, Tim That Talks. Today we're going to talk about the Week 1 game for the Tennessee Titans, which was against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just going to be blunt. This was a very bad game for the Tennessee Titans. I am not surprised, though. I did think Arizona was a good team going into today's matchups. I didn't know how the Titans DBs were going to hold up against the Arizona Cardinals receivers, so I didn't think this was going to be an easy game, but I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I'm going to start with the observations first. Kyler Murray is a dang magician. This guy's escapability is awesome. He was running all over the field. There was one play where he ran 20 yards from sideline to sideline, still threw the ball on a dime. This guy is going to be unstoppable. Kind of reminds me of a young Russell Wilson when he first came in. Chandler Jones was unstoppable. This guy had 5 sacks. Nobody could cover this guy. Lawan got exposed. Quisenberry, everybody, all the tackles got exposed for the Tennessee Titans. Arizona's DBs challenged the Titans receivers every moment, and they won. Every catch that A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, as well as Chester Rogers, had was a contested catch. They were almost open for no catches. So good for the Arizona DBs. They locked our guys down. Titans offensive line was just bad. Lawan had a horrible game back from injury. Quisenberry looked like he didn't even belong out there. At some points, he wasn't even getting his hands on the rushers. Lamb didn't look much better also. He was on the ground. He looked worse than Quisenberry. So you might as well cut this Lamb guy, or he's just going to be a rotational backup guy if somebody gets hurt. And I don't know if he's going to be that good at it. I was not impressed by Kendall Lamb at all. Now I see why Quisenberry got the start over him. Guard and center did play reasonably well for the Tennessee Titans. Ben Jones, Davis, and Safford played decent. There was only maybe 1 sack that they gave up in the middle. Pretty much all the other pressure was coming from the outside. All right, I'm going to start with the good from the Tennessee Titans. It was good to see Molden out there to get the start. He was playing very well. He was really good on tackles. He was near his man. He only had one really bad glaring play, which he bit on a double move that allowed Kirk to get a 26-yard touchdown. Other than that, for his first start, Molden looked good and he played well. You saw glimpses of the Titans offense when it comes to Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. You could tell the concepts that they want to do with these guys. So it was good to see, even though they had a tough day today, it was good to see the glimpses of what the Tennessee Titans receiving core could be. But when it comes to Tannehill and Julio, definitely need time to build that chemistry. And it was evident they were off on a couple plays. Julio was dropping some plays. He didn't look like Julio, but he also didn't have a preseason. So this is pretty much his first game back. So Titans is going to break this film down, and they're going to have a lot of work to do against the Seattle Seahawks. The defensive line played reasonably well, considering they had a magician to try to cover, and he was exposing them. But countless plays, you saw Bud Dupree was getting a lot of pressure, and that was good to see. I had made a video earlier where I said Bud Dupree gets a lot of pressures. He could almost had 2 sacks, but Kyler Murray just wormed his way out of there. And it was good to see Jeffrey Simmons was getting pressure, and Landry had some decent snaps also. We did have 2 sacks. Landry got a sack and Simmons got a sack, so that was good to see 2 of our mainstays got sacks. Christian Fulton got the start, and he looked like a starting defensive back in this league. He has some very good pass breakups. He's going to be good for us, and we needed to hit on this guy. So that way, if we have Fulton, Molden, and Farley, we could be good for the next 4 to 5 years in the secondary, and that's something that we needed because Hooker is going to be a good mainstay also. So it seems like we already have our core with the DB. So Christian Fulton, it was very good to see the snaps that he put in. Next, we're going to go to the bad from the Tennessee Titans. 2 years in a row, the kicking situation is going to cost us some games. Titans kicking game is abysmal. Hopefully John Robbins is on the phone right now to Gronkowski to get him into the facility and start kicking some balls. Because this guy we got, Bagley, I don't feel confident or comfortable with this guy at all. The Titans offensive line was porous today. especially the tackles. They had nothing for J.J. Watt or Chandler Jones for his 5 sacks in one game, which I don't even think I've ever seen that before in a game where a guy has 5 sacks. And if so, I can't remember it, but I just know it was embarrassing. Lewan needs to go ahead and give some money back right now. And I hope he was injured most of those plays, but I don't think so. I just think he was rusty, and Chandler Jones was proving a point, and he exposed one of the best offensive linemen in the league. And all I know is it can't get no worse. So hopefully when they're looking at these plays, looking at these film this week, that they get fire in their belly to go against Seahawks, because it's not going to be much easier next week. Titans offensive line gave Tannehill no time on third downs. If it was 3rd and over 5, Tannehill almost had no chance. I almost felt bad. Anything more than a 3-step drop for Tannehill on 3rd down, there was a good chance that he was going to get the ball swiped at him, or that one of these outside linebackers was going to come screaming off the edges for him, especially on the backside. Chandler Jones was eating everybody up. Now, most of the time I like Vrabel, but that call on 4th and short in the 2nd quarter to kick a 46-yard field goal with Bagley, a guy who just called up 24 hours, was a bad call. Very bad coaching call for Mike Vrabel. He needs to be more aggressive in that time of the game, because pretty much that was wasted. You wasted. You gave away field position. Like I said, put Henry in there, get that 1 yard, or Tannehill run for that 1 yard. Anything other than kicking a 46-yard field goal with a kicker that was already kicking wide right anyway. I'm going to say it right now, tight end is going to be weak for us this year. I like Ferguson, but he's not going to be able to be in on majority of the plays where we would need him. He's not a Jonnu Smith, which is why Jonnu Smith was starting over him. And so we're weak there, because all we got is 2 blocking tight ends and no real catching threat. And Ferguson can catch, but we need both, especially for this offense. We need both. And right now we're weak there. All right, I'm going to go over some quick hits for the offense and defense side of the ball. I did like what I saw from Chester Rogers. He looked really good as a slot receiver. I liked him in preseason. I like his kick return, punt return ability, but I think he's going to shine in the slot. He's very fast coming out of his breaks, and he gets open, and he's got really good hands. He's a tough guy, and I like what I'm saying from Chester Rogers. A good addition for Tennessee Titans receiving core. A.J. Brown's touchdown grab was a very good catch. That shows you why he's one of the best receivers in the league. And no matter how much the DBs were challenging, A.J. Brown's going to be A.J. Brown. And he's a tough receiver, and I love what I'm seeing from A.J. Brown, especially in the end zone. On the defensive side of the ball, Christian Fulton looked really good. He was really good in press coverage, and he was always on his man. He didn't bite on a lot of plays. He had a really good pass breakup on A.J. Green. He had A.J. Green's number. So Christian Fulton was really good in the secondary. Moden was also good in the secondary. Like I said, he had one bad play. He bit on a double move for Christian Kirk for a touchdown. But other than that, he played good in the slot, and I liked what I saw from Moden. This guy's potential to be a really good starter for the Tennessee Titans. Bud Dupree was getting a lot of pressures, which I knew he was going to come in and do that. He was going to elevate everybody and maybe suck up some of the linemen so that way other guys can get sacks, as Simmons got a sack and Landry got a sack. And Bud Dupree did look good. I just want him to finish more on the sacks, but I do understand they don't want him to get the sacks, but he is going to get to the quarterback to hurry some throws up, and he did that. So the potential for him to get 10 plus sacks is there, even from this game against the Arizona Cardinals. Jeffrey Simmons also was getting good pressure. Also, he made Kyler Murray probably move the most. Between him and Bud, they both was make Kyler Murray on his bicycle. But Kyler Murray, this is his game. He does this. He runs around, he plants his feet, and he throws an accurate ball. This is what he did coming out of college, and I love that. And he's still doing it now in the NFL. He's going to make defenses look silly. And he did that today against the Tennessee Titans. In conclusion, I'm going to keep this in perspective. This is just the first game for the Tennessee Titans. It wasn't a good game. It got us exposed, but it was just the first game. There were some good things and there were some bad things. It was more bad things than good. Our offensive line is going to have to shore up here this week, because the Seattle Seahawks ain't going to be much different than what we saw today. And Russell Wilson's a better version of Kyler Murray. So me personally, I see the Titans 0-2, but I want to see growth from the first game to the second game. That's pretty much what I want to see, because Tennessee Titans are still the favorite in the AFC South. But these NFC games are going to be tough for the Titans, because we're not built to stop these air raid offenses or these 4 wide receiver sets. We're not built that way. But the Titans are showing that they have the ability by taking Evans out and bringing in either a safety or another DB. So I see where the Titans are going. I just know next week's going to be just as hard as this week. All right, thank you for listening to my content. This is Workplace Sports Talk. Please subscribe if you like the content. See you next time.